Tell your story.
Change the conversation.
Organized by students.
TEDx Youth at SHC.
Every person has their own story, or as I like to call it, a book. My story had been something I had been writing since I was in first grade. I was going to be a star football player in high school, go Division I, win the Heisman Trophy, go to the NFL, be a multimillionaire, Hall of Famer, just like that. Sounded pretty easy in my head. I still remember my first high school football game, stepping onto the field. I was nervous, but I was excited. Until the last play of that game. I was running at the sideline. I got hit. I broke my femur. I didn't know what had just happened. I was laying there on the ground. My coach came over, told me it was just a Charlie horse. He helped me up. I hobbled off to the sideline until a parent put his hand underneath my leg and it folded around his hand like a noodle. Femurs aren't supposed to do that. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. I developed blood clots in my lungs. I would be on blood thinners for 6 months. After that whole ordeal, I lost 40 pounds. Now, this wasn't the way I wanted my book to go. This wasn't the way I wanted my story to be written, but I was so determined. So I went back and I turned into a total gym rat, put on 50 pounds, and I was ready for the next season. Sophomore year rolled around, 3 games in, shattered my elbow socket. That one hurt. I was saying, why is this happening to me? I'm putting in so much time, so much effort, but I wasn't ready to give up yet. I was scheduled to come back in the second round of playoffs. Our team would lose in the first. 2 weeks after that, I started to develop pains in my lower back. Got an MRI. Turns out I had 2 herniated discs. I suffer from degenerative disc disease, which basically means that the discs in my spine are the strength of an 80-year-old man. I'm not 80. I'm 17. I was destroyed. But that's not the thing that really hurt. The doctor then looked me into my eyes with one sentence. He said, "You can never play the sport of football again." It didn't hit me until I got to the parking lot, and then I started bawling, crying. The book that I had been writing since I was in first grade was torn apart. Ran over by about 2 or 3 cars right in front of me. Maybe peed on by a dog. I was done. I was done with that story. I put my book to the side. So I fell into the 3 biggest traps of trying to forget. Every weekend I started just partying, even during the weekdays. But the thing that I realized was that I was in the exact same place that I started, just with a bad headache. I tried the excuses. I tried the excuse of, I don't have enough time for that. I tried the excuse of, I'm too tired. The only thing I realized is that I was running away from myself. I was sticking myself in a pit of sand that I could not get out of. Then the last thing, I was scared of failure. I was scared of letting myself down, letting others down. I was tired of that. So I started out small. I picked up my book again. I flipped to the next page. I tried out with crew. It proved to be too much for my back, but I thought to myself, I'd done that so many times that at least I did it. Then that summer, I would play water polo, which would end very weirdly because I got appendicitis and had to have emergency surgery. But that's besides the point. What I realized is that everybody has an inner fight, an inner will to go on. Every book gets rewritten. Every book has hundreds of edits. No book is perfect on the first time. As I sat there, and I realized that this book that I'm writing right now, the only thing that's going to stop me is myself. There might be things that are going to get in the way, but in the end, it's my decision. So I'll leave you with this. Imagine you're on a super strict diet for 2 months. You've been eating nothing but green foods. It's pretty scary. You walk into your kitchen, and you see this great big white piece of fluffy cake sitting there. That cake is representing every single temptation, every break that you could have, every break from life, that momentary satisfaction, but you know it'll set you days back in your diet, days back in your story. You're about to sit down, you're about to give in to that temptation. But then you look to your right. You see your book. You see your story. So I'll ask you, we choose the cake or the book? Thank you.